He begins teaching this to his theology students. And then, in, let's see, 31 October 1517, as we're approaching that date, he comes across Tetzel selling his indulgences, and he gets pretty bent out of shape, and he does what? He formulates these ideas. What do we know them as? 95 Theses. And what does he do with these 95 Theses? Publishes them, right? And what does he do to spread them to the community?
He nails them to the church door.
Right. He nails them to the door of the Church of Wittenberg. So let me get in touch with my inner Martin Luther here. These monk robes are crazy here. So we'll do a little reenactment for you. If I could find where the arm goes. There we go. All right, so we got Martin Luther, right? He's got his 95 Theses. Here we are. He goes to the church door, Church of Wittenberg. Sorry, Mr. Goddard. All right, everybody, look at my 95 Theses, right? So what happens then? What ends up happening to Martin Luther? He's summoned somewhere to appear before
Worms.
what?
Kind of the worms.
What kind of worms?
Fried.
Huh? These kind of worms?
Oh, there you go.
Earthworms.
The diet worms, right? All right.
It's not really worms.
Gross.
All you animal rights people.
The diet of worms. What is this diet of worms?
Diet's different from anything else.
What is a diet? Not me refraining from eating the worms. What is a diet? Barley.
It's a formal assembly of church leaders and how to do.
Yeah, a formal assembly. And it doesn't just have to be the church. It could be. Isn't there a government body that still meets? They call it the diet.
Japan,
Japan.
Japanese diet, sushi, no. 3 times in one class.
Why hello there?
Ladies and germs. Good to see you on.
So true.
Outstanding person. We good? All right. So you've had some time to review Conrad-Demarest both at home, yes,
Yes.
and with your peers.
Who was he?
Very good. Conrad-Demarest is actually 2 people. They were educational types from the 80s. Well, I'd imagine maybe they're still around, but back in the 1980s, they came up with this model of what does and does not work for an empire. If you went down and read through this, you should see there's a couple things that set up what conditions that you need to have a successful empire, what some of the rewards of a well-run empire could be, and what happens when things go astray and the empire falls, what leads to the decline of an empire. Okay? And this model does hold true pretty well for all the empires that you guys are going to investigate over the course of this lesson and others as you study empires throughout history. We are introducing it with the Assyrians because the Assyrians especially, they did some things really good and they did some things really bad, and they're a fantastic example of what goes right and what goes wrong. Okay? I'm not going to go through all of this because you did have this as a homework assignment. We've talked about it in brief here, there, and previously, but we'll go over a couple things. State level of government refers to what, simply?
Like who runs the government and what type of government?
Now, typically an empire isn't one tribe or society. An empire is, right, it could be a combination of several cities, several tribes, several groups of people fall under one ruler, all right, and that composes the empire. And you have a central government, right? When we say state, we don't necessarily mean like Connecticut or Vermont. We mean some kind of central government that's in charge of that empire. All right. Number 2, High agricultural potential? Well, obviously, if you're going to run your empire, you better be able to feed the people, right? If you can't feed people in an empire, what happens?
They all die.
Decline in population.
Decline in people. What happens if food runs short? People get desperate, right? And desperate people who are going hungry, what happens then?
Cannibalism.
Chaos? Is chaos safe to say?
Yes.
Right? You'll have people ransacking, stealing from their neighbors, killing each other, because it's survival of the fittest at that point. Right? If you're going hungry and starving. All right. We're going to go into depth in a lot of this in the lesson itself, but I want to tackle a couple things really quick with you guys. What we're going to do, of course, is, and we've already started to do it, we're going to discuss Conrad-Demarest Model, and we're going to apply it, today we're going to apply it to Assyria, the Empire of Assyria, which you should have read in your book, chapter 2. All right, we're gonna discuss it, and then we're gonna have an activity in the class. We're gonna have you guys get up and have some fun demonstrating the rise and fall of an empire. Okay, let's go over a couple things really quickly. To have a good empire, you need what?
Resources.
Oh, I gave it away, didn't I? All right, when we're talking about resources, what are we talking about? Now, think basic. Don't get too specific. Big picture, Miss Judd.
Food.
Food. Okay, and food can be
More like a fertile area where food can be grown.
growing food. What do we call that, Miss Siham? Horticulture. Right. You remember my little picture, right? Was this the class I did the picture of horticulture?
Yeah.
And what was the really bad picture I drew?
I don't know.
Was it a horse or something?
Yeah, it was a really decrepit-looking stick figure of a horse, right? And what does that refer to when it comes to food? Well, agriculture is horticulture and
Domestication of animals.
right, domestication of animals. There should be review, yes? Domestication, animal. All right, together equals agriculture, right? Okay, so you've got food for your empire. What else do you need? Q.
Building materials?
Building materials. Why don't we call that raw materials? Okay. Raw material. All right. Give me some examples of raw materials.
Wood.
So, I think who should be the Assyrian here? Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, come over here and be an old Assyrian merchant, if you would, sir. Those are for you. Alright. Very good. I have a little chart over there.
I wonder who that is.
Let's give you 6 resources, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do I have to keep the resources?
No, you're going to share the resources with your classmates because that's what a good student will do. Okay, those are your resources. You'll get resources too.
I figured resources.
Oh, okay. So Hittite and Mitanni, they're pretty even at this point. So you guys each get 10 resources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Don't you feel left out, Oliver?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, did I give you one too many resources?
I don't know.
I think you did.
I think it's okay.
Ollie's just
All right. So who wants to be the Hittite? Who wants to be the Mitanni?
I'll be Hittite.
Okay. Hittite, here you go.
Oh,
All right. No, you're just a nerdy trader at this point in history. Don't worry, Assyrian trader, you will rise.
You keep dropping your resources.
All right. Now here's the deal. Assyrian, in the middle, please, if you would, sir. Outstanding, my merchant trader person.
That was beautiful.
Hittite, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, you're in Anatolia, you're the Mitanni. Very good. Now, our poor Assyrian, he's got his back up against the wall. He's got other tribes behind him. He's got a mountain range behind him. He can't go anywhere. He's stuck in the middle.